Hey, Red. The first one here. Hey, that's cool. What bebop heads have you been learning, Red? Trying to play bebop first thing in the morning. I haven't even warmed up as yet. But that's cool. Sipping at bells, dexterity, Lil Willie leaps, Billy's bounce, all good stuff. Really good. It definitely will get your fingers and your hands moving in very unconventional ways, and playing a lot of different vocabulary that is just part of just the language, right? So really cool. But I'm just gonna play a little. I'm gonna warm up, maybe to a drum loop or something. Let's see. Let's see. I've been digging these Corey Fonville drum loops lately. Yeah, let's do that one. Let's do that one. All right. Let's get it looping. That's it. 115. Sean. How you doing? Getting my warm-up on. A little bit of coffee. Getting my fingers, hands going. But if you're on here, welcome to the Bass with Benjamin live stream, and this is number 24. And so if you got any questions, anything to do with bass playing, put it down in the chat, and we'll get our bass nerdery well on our way, as usual. Anything to do with bass playing, whether it's gear, of course, that's always a popular one, always a fun one, but anything to do with bass concepts, the business of bass playing, bass players in particular, anything to do with playing music, how the bass functions in music and in this world, bass history, any questions you got, pop it down in the chat, and I'll do my best to address it, alright? But it's just nice to see people here, but right now, a little more playing. Anyway, folks, how you all doing? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for jumping on here again. And if you just jumped on, this is number 24 of my live stream. And it's like, wow, 24 weeks already. I mean, I know that I say this every week, but just as it keeps going higher and higher, I'm like, what? What? Nice to see you cats on here. Red, of course. John Axe, nice to see you. No Name. Jose Blackman Jr., nice to see you, sir. John Axe, the drum line, that drum groove, yeah. So that's that one is from Corey Fonville's little drum sample pack called it's just called Pockets with Corey Fonville. So something like that. If you go on Google, you'll be able to find where to get it from. Or there's that platform called Splice that has a whole lot of... Oh, I apologize. I'd had the mic turned down. Hey, everybody. Take two. Nice to see everyone. What I turned down the volume because I noticed that there was like a little bit of a delay between this mic and the bass sound. And so I noticed in some of the previous live streams, there's been a little bit of almost like a slapback effect. So when I play, I try to now just turn down the volume of the talkback mic. So what I was talking about, that drum pack, that drum sample pack, it's by a drummer named Corey Fonville. Incredible drummer. He's the drummer from the band Butcher Brown. If you're all hip to them, incredible, really great band. And Corey's just an absolutely insane drummer, incredible jazz player, hip hop, like funk, like that does it all, right? So it's called, I think it's just called Pocket Playing or something with Corey Fonville. If you go on Google or even on Splice, that's another platform that you can get it from, where it's a platform where they have a whole bunch of different like samples of like everything, and they're always adding stuff. And I know that they do like the first month for like 99 cents or something, just as a trial version. It's really cool, and they have different tiers. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. That's just something that I've kind of checked out, and it's been really cool. So for those of you who are into using samples and all that, that's something that might interest you. So a little bit of reverb going on there. I'll fix my vibrato pedal. I turned it on when I was playing, and it did this sound. which I'm like, oops. And now it's just, there we go. I have everything just flat on that vibrato pedal. And that's the sound I like. Nice and lush. And so what I like about these drum loops, especially ones that have been recorded by like really great drummers, and who have like great feel and have put together some really nice samples, is that it definitely gives you the feeling of, yeah, like playing. Obviously, it's not going to replace you playing live in person with an actual musician, an actual drummer. But for practicing, especially if you're wanting to practice like just pocket, this is a really good way to definitely just spend hours to really just appreciate just that space of what goes into like sophisticated drum loops. So again, with something like this, what I was playing, you know, which it's got this kind of almost like samba funk kind of thing. Reminds me of the Shaka Khan tune, I Know You, I Love You, or Live You. I Know You, I Love You, yeah. But it's got some syncopations to it, and so we want to be able to play our part around that, right? So a good way to kind of just figure out what's going on is just to strip it back, keep it real simple. So something like this. You know, if you can get your, no pun intended, your bass line, meaning the minimum, feeling good, all right, then that's a good starting base of where you can then take things, all right? So now I could like add a little more to it, just to maybe just accent a few things. So going back to the theme, I can do something that has a little more quarter note going on to if I want to put a little bit of a drive into it. So come back to the phrase. So I can do things like that, as well as like intentionally take out, I can take out like some of the notes as well. Instead of having to always play on the downbeat, maybe I might miss out playing beat 1 and even beat 3. And then I can like really embellish more and like the different types of elements that I can go into. Jose is like, give us some songo. Exactly. This is the cool thing about and that I like to do, and I encourage my students. I have one student in particular right now where we're just like working on like just pocket and groove, because that's one of the main elements that he is wanting to definitely level up and improve on. Is that like, obviously everything is about feel, right? It's how you feel the pulse, okay? And where things are going to be placed. And so you really have to like use your internal clock. Your body every part of your body needs to feel where the bump is going to be. All right. And so it should be as simple as like when you play like one note, that one note should feel really good, right? Every time you place it, wherever you're going to play it. Note length is also super important as well. If I was to just play long notes over this, it's not going to feel as good, right? So I'll give you an example. Maybe in some sort of context that might work, but just overall, it kind of has a bit of a dragging kind of feeling. Even though where I'm placing the beginning of the note is like where it needs to be, the ending of the note is not where it needs to be. You know what I mean? So this is where like, okay, we need to think about and consider shortening the note where it needs to be. Especially with an intricate drum beat like this, where there's quite a few elements going on. There's a few of those things, and so we want to make sure that we can like match up and complement that. So instead of doing I can go this. And I could even mix it up with like long notes and some short ones as well, right? And then I can also get carried away as well. But this is something that's like, you can just do for hours, just with different types of variations and just experimenting with how things sit, how things feel. And this is something I really recommend. If you're wanting to like really kind of just focus on your pocket playing, doing something like this, like playing along to really great drum loops where they've been recorded by real drummers. The other option is playing along to great songs, recordings that have great pocket and feel, right? That have been recorded by incredible musicians. And there's so many of that too. You play along to that. If you can get your bass to really blend in and sit in like nicely, then, and where it feels good, you're not rushing ahead, you're not dragging behind, then you're definitely on your way to like, really just honing in that feel. And this is something where you can't think it. You have to just let it. You have to let the music just take over. That's what it is. And don't try to always have to think that you have to put in like fancy. That will come eventually. You get the feel, you get the vibe, you make the music feel good, you make people feel good. That's the most important part right there. You know what I mean? So anyway, little bit of pocket and groove there, and also that's just I was just warming up when I was just jamming over that before, and now I'm feeling really good. Coffee is kicking in as well. If you're just joining on, or if you jumped on here, welcome. If you got any questions or anything about bass playing, anything to do with bass playing, this is where we can really nerd out. And you know me, if you're a regular here, you know me, I like to really nerd out about bass playing. So pop it down in the chat, and I'll try my best to address your questions. But the thing that is that I was doing last night. So I always have my screwdriver next to me, and in case I need to do any adjustments. Sometimes I'll adjust like the pickup height, mainly because of the attack of my fingers. Last night, I adjusted them lowered them just a little bit, because my fingers felt they need to have just a little more resistance. But now, this morning, I kind of raised them back up. Probably because I hadn't warmed up as yet. But those are things that I always do. I always like to keep my tools handy, in case I need to do any adjustments. On gigs, I'd always have like the right Allen key, or screwdriver in case I need to do truss rod, little tweak or whatever. It's just always handy to have those things. What is the string spacing? That's a good question. It's possible it's 17 millimeters, but I'm not sure exactly. But yeah, it might be 17, or it might be 17 and a half. The six string, it's not on the wider end of six strings, which is really cool. My groove line, my main six string this one here, definitely has. I think it's probably maybe 18 millimeters, so it's a little wider, and it has a little thicker neck as well, like on the back. This one is definitely more slimmer because the BTB basses naturally have a slimmer neck profile, and so we kind of went with that because that was the template that they had, and I just wanted to make this build the easiest possible build. So yeah. And Stanley is asking specific question. Nice to see you again, Stanley. I want to buy a 5-string this summer, and my budget's around $1,000. Do you have a recommendation for me? I do 70s, jazz, R&B, and soul, and playability is most important to me. Yeah, you can absolutely get a great 5-string bass for $1,000. I'm thinking that $1,000 USD. And this is the thing, you don't have to get a brand new bass. There are tons of great used instruments out there. And some of these instruments, there's that whole thing of like, okay, you don't know what condition it might be in or whatever, which is true, but that also goes with a brand new instrument as well. You don't know what happened to it during shipping or even just the quality control. I've had really great experiences with used instruments, and I have found that because they've been played in, so they have actually kind of sound a little more opened up, right? And look, at the end of the day, because I'm an Ibanez cat, I will always recommend Ibanez instruments to anybody because they incredible instruments, and you can get a really great 5-string for up to $1,000 that will cover what you're wanting to play, jazz, R&B, soul, like definitely a BTB model would be something that would probably fit your needs. But I'd also recommend what is it called? I'm spacing on it. See, I got to go on the Ibanez website right now just to. It's a let me check. And where is it? It's called a Talman bass. All right. You can get a 5-string version of it. If you have a look at the TM, the Ibanez, so Ibanez Talman, TALMAN, it's a TMB405TA. So 5-string model. This one has a really nice finish on it. But I've played these basses before. They're really incredible. That will totally fit your vibe. It's a PJ configuration. So P bass pickup and a jazz bass pickup. So definitely will cover the music that you're wanting to play. It'll fit that really nicely. And of course, because it has the P bass pickup, so if you want to do like the old school R&B, you can absolutely do that and turn off all the treble, and you'll get that P bass sound. Or if you want to do the back pickup growl, you can just throw on the bridge pickup, and you've got that sorted as well. So I recommend that. Of course, there are so many great 5-string basses around everywhere. It's really about, I would definitely look in that kind of traditional kind of thing of, like a jazz bass style, something PJ configuration. Even, some humbucker, will also absolutely cut it as well. But that would be my recommendations. At the end of the day, you got to try a bunch of basses and see what you like, what feels good, what sounds good, and what makes you happy and makes you play, and it also inspires you to play what you want to play. That's really important with basses. So, of course, I can give you recommendations, but at the end of the day, it's, what you feel is best. And the best way, again, you just got to go try a bunch of stuff. So going to a local music store, even going to a mom and pop kind of music store where they'll have like used stuff as well, will always be your best bet. So good luck with that, Stanley. Let me know what you end up settling on. We'd all like to hear how that turns out. So keep us posted. No Name, nice to see you again. Can you maybe talk about playing over the bar line licks and going back to the groove in the middle of the next bar, like play that lick and start the groove at 3 and or something? Okay, yeah, absolutely. Before I do that, let me just see if there's anything here. In standard tuning, 4-string, what note is the low string? E1, E2, E3. So obviously, it's going to be, let's see. It's going to be, I'm pretty sure it's going to be E3 because C4 is middle C, and that's middle C right there. That's going to be C3. So I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I've done the pitch class thing, so I'm like, I know it's between E2 and E3. Something like that. Mr. Mark writes, yes, the better the tool, the easier the job. Absolutely. It's that whole thing, you get what you pay for. However, you can get some, you can get some really great instruments that are not breaking the bank. And I've had that experience many times, and they've been definitely served me for a long time. So, but definitely you get something that has been taken care of and looked after, it'll definitely serve you the way you need to. So let me go to Stanley's, No Name's specific question. So going back to this groove here, the over the bar line kind of stuff. So if I'm playing, if I go back to my basic groove, I've got that established, right? As just the basic thing. But if I'm going to do some kind of melodic embellishments where it takes it over the bar line, I might do something like this. So what I'm doing is like, it's this kind of thing of like a little bit of pushing and pulling where you can play a phrase and all your phrases don't necessarily need to always just land at the beginning of the bar. All right. You can play something and take it over, but it is still your responsibility to know where you are in whether it's you're playing a 2-bar phrase, a 4-bar phrase, or whatever. You still need to maintain that responsibility of knowing so that you can just like pick up as if get back into the groove and still maintain that as if nothing has happened. You know what I mean? Because what you do is when you play something that's over the bar line, it definitely catches interest, right? To the other musicians, to the listener. So it's just like, whoa, for that moment where we're kind of like suspended in midair and then we just bring it back. You know what I mean? I'll play a little more. Obviously, I'm overemphasizing it. I'm kind of exaggerating a little more just to kind of just show you, get to the point of it all. But if you put that in like now and then effectively in the right place musically, then it can really be so effective. For me, I'd say the some of the earliest influences of hearing that kind of thing would be like Anthony Jackson, especially on Let's see. What You Gonna Do For Me? Like, especially towards the end, he does like all these really great bass licks. Um, and it's really, and it definitely piques your interest, you know, especially, and he gets back into it. Victor Wooten was another one that I heard, especially there was this tune from his record called Yin Yang, which was in the late 90s. There's a tune called, I forgot the name of it, but it was like, dun, 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 dun. Something like that. That was one of the first times I heard it. And then later on, when I started discovering like Andrew Goucher, you know, of course, Sheree Reed on that really popular video, you know, at the Chicago Gospel Music conference or exchange, where he's playing all these unbelievable just fills and all that. There's a lot of over the bar stuff that he does, especially the one right, you know, like all that where it's just like whoa. And of course everyone is freaking out because it's just amazing, but then he just drops back into it, you know, as if nothing's happened, and you see it in the way he's playing. He's just like, yeah, that was nothing. You know what I mean? And everyone is just like, oh my God. So if you want to see a great example of that, Sheree Reed, it's usually the first video that pops up if you type that in Google. Incredible stuff. So that's definitely some of my influences of where I kind of got that kind of concept from. So yeah. I hope that's helpful. Isaac, how you doing? Nice to see you. Where do you currently live? So currently I'm all the way in New Zealand. All right, so it is in the middle of winter right here. So I know a lot of you are in summer where it's blistering hot. For me, it's the opposite. It's not snowing, but it is cold. So that's why some of these live streams you've probably seen me wearing like a cardigan or something like that, because sometimes I wake up in the morning and it'll be like in the 30s, that's Fahrenheit. Celsius, that's going to be like 1-2 degrees. So yeah. And Isaac is you want to buy the two models that Ivan has made for Adam Nitty. Yeah, they're really great. I've had a chance to play them, the 6-string and also the 5-string, and they're incredible. And of course, Adam is such a insane bassist, and incredible player. Chops, he does this incredible sweep tapping thing that let me embarrass myself. See, exactly. See, I can't do it. Not that I could, but it just sounds like, oh yeah, when you see him do it, he just goes. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, nope. So yeah, they're really incredible basses, the Adam Nitty stuff. Really cool. Yeah, look, some people play a $87 Squire bass. I know cats who, yes, play. And, at the end of the day, it's like what you do with the instrument. Some people take a cheap instrument and put mods and all that. They'll do that. And this is something that will always be up for debate. And I've owned many basses of varying qualities over the years, and yes, some definitely better than others. But generally, most of the time, I've always been happy with whatever. With what I've had. Obviously, this instrument right here is probably the most boutique instrument that I've ever had and have. just because, yes, it is a fully custom instrument. But I also have had instruments that are just like real kind of basic stock. And I've been able to play gigs and do my thing on them. And yes, I have also encountered some times where, like, yes, there's been a very cheap instrument, and I'm like, okay, it's kind of possible. It can do some things on it, um, but it definitely is a thing. Like I said before, you get what you pay for. That's for sure. But at this day and age, there is still a good amount of instruments that are affordable, that people make great music on, that are really happy with. And you don't always need to have like a super boutique, expensive instrument in order to sound good. I've heard some cats on a $15,000 Federa bass, and it's like, and it wasn't happening. So it definitely, a lot comes from the player. Thaddeus Tribbett, brother of Ty Tribbett. Thaddeus, incredible bassist, a lot of Jill Scott recordings, and was touring with her for a long time. To this day, I mean, for the longest time, his main bass was this very, like just this real basic, old, cheap, like Fender precision bass special. It was a made in Japan one, I believe. But I mean, the sounds and the tones he got from that thing was insane. Like, I mean, you listen to that Jill Scott live record, like, what? That's the thing. So, and going off what Mark Wright is saying, and because Mark Wright, I'll tell you, Mark Wright, for those of you who don't know, he is the owner, he is the designer and builder at AccuGroove cabinets, and so he understands, of course, of what putting together something of really great quality with really great components and materials can really do, and something that will last you for a long time. And this is something that he has spent his life doing as well, of virtually trying every single bass cabinet and amplifier out there for decades, and to come up with this thing right here that is essentially this is for bass players. All right, and he has guitar cabinets as well, which are very high quality, but Mark is a bass player. He's designed something that he himself would absolutely play through, and there are so many bass players that can really attest to that as well, that I've met and hung out with and seen play, and the fact that there's a really great high quality cabinet out there that really does make a difference. I've played through some very low end stuff that it can handle certain things, but when I met Mark, that's when I started getting more serious about like my sound and what I needed, right? And I realized that, these gigs that I'm doing, I'm playing some more high profile gigs, and I need to have some good gear. And this is something that's, over the course of the year, I kind of checked out some other stuff just to kind of just see what was around, and I always came back to the AccuGroove, and this little cabinet has done it all for me. So it's definitely worth it, when you go for something that has a good name, has a good reputation, and sounds good. So carrying on, and let's see here. Yeah, Isaac, you've tried those basses. Yeah, they're great. Are there any Zachary Porter? Are there any records or artists that are heavy in your current listening rotation? Oh, the ones that will always be heavy in my rotation. Okay, especially in my family here, we love to listen to Flora Purim. We absolutely love Flora, especially the album called Carry On. Uh, has some really fun, incredible tunes. Great bass playing as well. Byron Miller plays bass on some of the tracks, and then there's also it's not Alfonso. It is. I'm spacing on the name, but let me just. He's Jamaican. Really tall dude, incredible player. I'm totally spacing on his name right now. That's why I have to quickly look it up. All right, credits. Oh, yep, here we go. Credits, track listing. All right, so yeah, Byron Miller. Of course, it's produced by Keith Jones. Okay, Keith Jones is the bassist. Thank you. Keith Jones, incredible bassist, played with Wayne Shorter, Carlos Santana, Jean Luponti. Incredible bassist on there. So we listened to Flora Purim. Also, the album Open Your Eyes, You Can Fly. That one is mostly Alfonso Johnson playing bass. A few tracks has Ron Carter on bass. Kind of up and coming guy. We also love. We listen on Tidal, and we have there's these custom playlists that have just been put together for us, and so it does it by genre, and so it'll be a mix of like Shaka Khan, Shalimar, Change, some Luther, all like great stuff that we just absolutely love listening to. My wife is a huge influence on like a lot of the music that I've started listening to in the last 10 years, especially a lot of, she really got me more into Shaka Khan, and Rufus. Definitely a lot of like real like funk, like dance, like music, even some electronic music, but also even more in touch with jazz vocalists as well. Her biggest influence is Sarah Vaughan, and for me, that listening to a lot of Sarah, it's just like, oh, okay, I could understand, because I never really paid attention in the past, but it's like, wow, no, she was something else. She really was. Other things that I'm listening to, I absolutely love listening to George Duke's The Aura Will Prevail. I was just listening to that yesterday, and also I was listening to George Duke and Billy Cobham, the Live in Europe record. Just incredible playing. A lot of those are definitely in heavy rotation. I definitely listen to a lot of like 70s like fusion. Like that's like my big thing that I always go back to, a lot of 70s thing. But I absolutely love Graham Central Station, like that first record. Woo, like that is just funky, nasty, like Larry Graham just in there, incredible. I could go on and on, about it, but those are definitely some heavy rotation stuff. Fretboard Focus John, nice to see you as always. Charmaine Ford, nice to see you, Charmaine. Charmaine is one of my influences from when I was a teenager. Charmaine is an incredible piano player here from New Zealand, but is living in Sydney for the last, I think 15 years probably, or maybe a little more. I remember when you moved over. But I used to go see Charmaine when I was a teenager, play with her trio at this club called Sandwiches. And I mean, that'd be swinging, especially Charmaine would just be tearing it up, playing her original music, playing standards. And this was like a big part for me of developing as a musician was, and I always talk about this, and I talk about this in my free course, in the observing part. You got to see how things are done. You know what I mean? You got to see how people are playing. You got to experience it for yourself as whenever you can. And so for me, seeing Charmaine's trio play, that was one of the experiences. Was like, okay, seeing how, like, you know, professional jazz musicians are interacting with each other, how they are playing, just how loose they are, and just their interpretation of playing tunes. That was a huge part of, like, oh wow, you know, and just seeing this is the kind of standard that is, you know, that we look at. So thank you, Charmaine. And then I learned, and this is the other thing too, that I talk about to a lot of my students, is there's that whole thing. If you want to play with someone, learn their music. And I've done this all throughout the years in my career. But Charmaine is one of the earliest ones of where, because I'd been seeing her play so much, I wanted to, like, man, I'd love to play with her. So what did I do? I started learning her tunes. I got her records, and I got hold of her charts as well, and I started practicing her tunes. And then she kind of got hip to me and saw me play one of her tunes on one of her students' recitals up at the jazz school. And she's like, hey, you know, you want to do this gig with me? And so that was my early experience of, like, wow, you know, I got to play with someone because they saw that I had learned their tunes. And later on, that happened for me with John Beasley. When I saw him play, that was another thing of, like, wow, I want to play with him. And so over the years, I learned his tunes. And so that when I did get the opportunity to play with him, I knew them. Lee Ritenour was the same thing. Mike Stern. Peter Erskine, I mean, you know, I know the whole, like, you know, weather report thing, right? And someone's mentioning Dave Weckl. That's the same thing as well. So if there are people that you want to play with eventually in your career, like, learn their music, whether it's you know, people on a who are very famous or whatever, or even just like cats in your local scene that you want to play with. Learn the stuff that they play, because that's always a thing where, hey, they might need a bassist. Oh, you know my tunes? All right, cool. Come on, let's do it. You know, and you know how to play them well. So that's a thing. So thank you, Charmaine. Nice to see you. Tim Wilsden, nice to see you as well, sir. Yes, Thaddeus is absolutely amazing. The Jill Scott is nuts indeed. So yeah, and yeah, Flora, of course, add that to your rotation. You've been on the Roy Hargrove and Frank Zappa binge. Nice. I'd recommend Roy Hargrove. My favorite Roy Hargrove album is one from the 90s. It's called Public Eye, and I still have it on cassette tape. Yes, I'm definitely old enough to remember cassette tapes and use cassette tapes, and I still have it around here somewhere. And that has a very young Christian McBride on bass. He's 19. And actually, you know what? He might even be younger. He might be 17. He's playing. Billy Higgins is on drums. Stephen Scott on piano. Antonio Hart on sax. I mean, it's swinging. And Roy sounds incredible, of course. So that's my favorite. Like, it's a straight ahead jazz record. But it's an incredible record. I absolutely love it. And that was the first time I got into Roy Hargrove as well. I got to meet Roy once. It was at the Monterey Jazz Festival. I was playing there with Monkestra. And, you know, I got to meet him. And, you know, unfortunately, a year later, he passed away. But what a legacy he has definitely left. With great music that is played regularly, and just trumpet playing, you know. Kent Bryan, yes. How you doing, Kent? Thanks for jumping on here. Nice. You saw the video Weckl and Steve Weingart. Yeah, and so those are cats that I wanted to play for a long time. And Steve is like one of my absolute best friends. We've played so much together, and we've just nerd out a lot. And he's one of the greatest keyboard players, pianists around. He really is. And you know, him and I, we have such a huge, you know, musical connection. We have a lot of the same influences, and so I just absolutely love playing with him. And speaking of, so I'm going to play a tune actually, and this actually has Steve involved. This is an arrangement that I did of it's a Rihanna tune. But I had and that I was just kind of playing around with. It's just a bass like arrangement. And so you'll hear like the different layers of bass on here. This is a Rihanna well, it's performed by Rihanna, but it was I know it was written by her producer and collaborator, James Fulton-Roy. Yes. And so on this version, I changed it up. I did some reharmonizations. I put it into 5/4, just because, hey, why not give it a little bit of a challenge? And I had Steve do a really cool synth solo on this as well. So I'm going to play this tune. This one is called James Joint. So we'll make sure that we're here. And nice to see everyone on here. Whoops, I adjusted the volume too much there. On here, I appreciate you jumping onto the live stream. And it's been nice to like some great questions. Nice to see some familiar faces and new faces on here. So thank you. Really appreciate it. But here's James Joint. So here we go. Something like that. A little bit of 5/4, because usually the tune is. But of course, I'm like, now let's make it different. Let's put it in 5/4. So definitely. And so forth. So it's always fun to just kind of take tunes and just rearrange it. But I always thought, like, those are some really nice chords. Those are the type of chord voicings that I like to play. And so I thought, why not just put it into a bass arrangement? We've got a little bit of time left here, so if you have any, if you have any more questions or anything, you can put it down in the chat, and I'll definitely try my best to get it in the time that I have available. But again, I mean, I really appreciate you all being here. I might play along with another tune. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Or I might even just make something up. How about that? We'll do a little bit of I haven't done any loop pedal today. How about I do a little bit of that, actually? That'll be good. That'll be fun. Let's see. trying to do this voicing, and it is like way high up on the neck. So let's try this again. Maybe we'll do it somewhere else. And my loop pedal's not behaving with me. Fix My Mix is asking, any strategies for going back and forth between 6-string bass and other basses? Specifically, do you find it harder to add the C string or go without the C string? Not necessarily. Oh, can't see. My wife is saying can't see my fingers because I'm too up here. Thank you, honey. That's my producer right there. So the going back and forth between the basses, not necessarily. And I'll even switch to a 4-string right now, just to, to do my thing. It's not a thing of like, oh, I missed the C string. The 6th string for me is a tool for when I need to do a certain job, right? But I'll play the total opposite of my 6th string, which is this P bass. And whatever instrument I have in my hands, I'm still approaching with my sound, with my vision. Sure, I'm going to have a different tool, so it's going to inspire me to play a little differently, but it's not a thing of like, I wish I had the C string here, or the B string. It's just, okay, this is what I have. Now, this is a bass that I have purposely set up for not playing all the stuff that I play on the 6th string. This bass is to serve as for just playing bass, right? Especially, I mean, this is a P bass, an Ibanez P bass with flat wounds on it, so it's got higher action, so it definitely serves that purpose. So I can't necessarily, I mean, I can kinda, but you have to put a little more muscle to play this instrument, but not too much to where it will hurt you or anything. So you get the idea. So whenever I pick up a bass, whether it's the upright, it's the electrics, whatever electrics I play, fretless, jazz bass, 6 strings, whatever. To me, it's all bass. All right, and the sound, the tone influences many different characteristics to approaching it, but I'm still putting my thing. So it's not a thing of where like, okay, yeah, I miss certain things. If I'm trying to do chords and all that, sure, yeah, I'm gonna obviously want to do that on my 6 strings because that's where I've gotten my thing. But for soloing and all that, it doesn't necessarily have to always be on the 6 string. I like using the 6 string because it has more range. I like being able to play in the higher registers for soloing, to be able to just play certain lines, but I also love soloing on the 4 string as well, on a very limited range, because it just gets different things out of you as well. The way I see it is like a pianist, playing on an 88 key grand piano, or playing on like a 61 key keyboard or something. I've seen all my favorite pianists do that, where they're playing a big piano, or playing on a small synth, and they're still doing their thing. Drummers, a good example for me. I remember when I was playing with Virgil Donati. We know Virgil for playing with a giant drum kit. He's got a lot of cymbals, lots of toms and all that. He's got the double kick. But when I played with him one time, and it's on YouTube, we were playing a tribute concert to this young pianist named Austin Peralta. And because there were other drummers also playing that night, so they were just sharing the house kit. This was at the Blue Whale, and it was just a Yamaha 4-piece bop kit. And Virgil played that, and he sounded great on it. He sounded really good. He brought his cymbals and his sticks, and that was it. But at the end of the day, it's like it's going back to what I was saying about how you use your tools. What music do you bring out of it? Whether you're playing on one string, or you're playing on a lot of strings. That's the thing. Drummers, are they playing on a huge 10-piece kit, or if they're just playing kick, snare, and hi-hats? It's what you do with it is where it really counts. And thank you, Wagner. Really appreciate the nice comments. And thank you, anyone here, for the nice comments. I really appreciate it. We're just about done here, but I want to just address a few things here. Fix My Mix is asking, how about reading? Are you more comfortable with or without the C? Either one. I can read on either bass. And when I am playing a 6-string, when I'm sight reading, I'll still play the 6-string as if it doesn't have a C. I'll still approach the 6-string like it's a 4-string bass, because there are if there's something that is written up in a higher register, it definitely needs to have a little more fuller sound of, at least on the G string. But if there's a melody or something that requires something to be singing, that kind of vocal-like quality on your instrument, then I'll definitely use the C string for sure. I don't necessarily see having like the 6-string as like easier to sight read with, because at the end of the day, you have to process the notes. It's not a matter of like positions, like keeping everything in one position. That's not how I see it. When I sight read, I'm still being able to move around, and that's probably because I play upright bass as well, and having to sight read on that instrument, you have to move around a lot, going in thumb position as well, if you have something that's very specific and written out for you. The reason I played, like I said, the 6-string is because I love the range of it, being able to go high, being able to go low, and just the possibilities you can do with it as well. And so on my gigs, sight reading is a muscle that has been exercised and can be applied to any bass that I play. So yeah. And yes, indeed, rest in peace to great Austin Peralta. I know gone too soon. He was very young, but there are some great videos of Austin playing. He played a lot with Thundercat. They were very close. And he's also on that first Thundercat record on a lot of the tunes. He played a lot with Flying Lotus. And Austin also played a lot with Virgil Donati, and he played a lot with Alan Holdsworth as well. From what I understand, he was someone who was down to just play any gig. He just loved to play music. He loved to play with people, and he just wanted to play with anyone. So he was someone who definitely said yes to to gigs. He was like, yeah, let's play. I didn't know him. I met him like once. We were the same age. But he's definitely someone who had, from a very young age, had been around for a long time, playing with a lot of pros. Isaac saying the 6-string custom bass, when is it going to be in production and when is it going to be for sale worldwide? There's no plans on that. That was just a one-off thing that was made for me to my specifications. However, anything can happen in the future, right? So we'll see, but there's no plans on that. You're not the first person to ask about that. Definitely a lot of people have been messaging me since I've got it, and asking, is that a new Ibanez model? So no, it's just a one-off instrument for now. So, but yeah. But yeah, Red. No, Austin played a lot, and there's some great videos of him playing with Alan Holdsworth as well. And that was, through Virgil as well. Virgil had asked Austin, "Hey, you want to play with Alan as well?" So yeah, sure. So yeah, um, really great pianist. Really, really good. Um, but I think that might be it for today. Yeah, everyone. I've got a few things I gotta do, but this has been so great, as always. So great to see you all, and just to hang out, and talk about bass playing. I really appreciate your questions. I really appreciate you just coming through and just hanging out. And it's so cool that we get to share this. Passion for this instrument and music that we just absolutely love, and the fact that this has just been like the 24th week of doing this live stream is just so exciting. And again, I really appreciate your support, and your enthusiasm for coming on here, and also just for playing music. And if there's anything I can help you with your bass playing, feel free to reach out to me. Let me I'll put the links in the chat here, so it's a little more easier to get. If you wanting a more one-on-one experience of just wanting to figure out any bass challenges, any plateaus, or anything that you might be stuck with and you don't know how to get out, if you want some consistent feedback on your playing, I have my bass coaching and mentoring programs available, and we can, if you want to see if that's something that might be a good fit for you, we can schedule a 30-minute chat and just talk about your bass playing and where you want it to go. So if you want to sign up for that and get into some coaching and mentoring, here's the link right here for that. And also, of course, I have all my different courses. I got my bass chords course. I've got the basic music theory accelerator course. And also, maybe if you're new to bass playing, I mean, a lot of you sound like you've been playing for a while, but if you know anybody who wants to learn how to play the bass, or if you're on here and you want to learn how to play the bass, I have a very basic beginner bass course that just starts you right from the beginning, from like how to hold the instrument to getting you playing in like 2 weeks. So, and then also there's my free course as well. I'll just put these links here so that's easier to, and it's telling me that, I've exceeded the character count here. I'll put the chords link here. And here is the music theory one. But and you can also go onto my website, basswithbenjamin.com, and you can find these all there as well. But again, whatever I can do to help you with your bass playing, feel free to reach out to me. This is what I love to do. I've got some really great students right now, and who are just incredible players, and it's been so fun just working with them on their bass playing, and just really help them see their full potential. And so I'd love to see what you can do as well, how I can help you, because everyone needs a bass player for something, right? Bass players are always in demand. And if we have a world of really great, enthusiastic bass players, I think it always makes for a really great music scene, no matter where we are in the world. So thank you again, everyone. I really appreciate you being here. Have a great, safe week wherever you are in the world. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you again next week for live stream number 25. So here's a little groove to send you off on your way, and thank you again. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye, everyone. Thank you again. Really appreciate it. Nice to see everyone. Take care. See you next time. Take care.